It all begins with our main protagonist, Kiyotaka Ayano Kuji, entering his new school, Tokyo Metropolitan Advanced Nurturing High School, a school established by the Japanese government to nurture the best students who will support the country in future. Kiyotaka joins Class 1D, where he meets many new students, including Suzune Horikita and Kiku Koshida. When Class D's homeroom teacher, Sei Chabashira, enters the class, she informs them about the special rules of this unique school, that the students are limited to leave the campus or to contact the outside world, and everyone is given a monthly budget of 100,000 points, each point equaling 1 yen, to spend at the school's local shops. The teacher warns them that the school judges its students on merit. After calculating the system, Kiyotaka and Suzune become cautious about how they spend the points. Later, as the time passes, many students keep spending their points and napping in the class without thinking deeply about anything until the 1st of May arrives. When the Class D students discover they did not receive any stipend, Chabashira informs she had warned them before, and now after failing to study, the class gets 0 points for a whole month. Chabashira tells them about the S system and how they lost their points to 0 due to their poor performance. And if they achieve good results in the upcoming exams, they will be promoted to Class C, while Class C will be demoted to Class D. But if they keep wasting their time, they will be expelled from the school. After that, while sitting outside the swimming pool, Kiyotaka and Suzune talk about how they can be promoted to Class C. Suddenly, Suzune notices Kiyotaka's arms are well developed, but Kiyotaka refuses, saying he was club-free in middle school. Later, Suzune invites Kiyotaka for lunch and treats him to an expensive meal with the intention that he will bring the 3 poor students to her study group. Kiyotaka tries to convince them, but when they refuse him, he takes Koshida's help to convince them. As they all gathered in the study group, their meeting could not proceed well due to Suzune's selfishness. Later that night, Kiyotaka overhears Suzune speaking to her brother, Manabu, the student council president. When he tries to harm her, Kiyotaka dives in to save her. Manabu claims Kiyotaka scored 50 scores on every exam and inquires whether it was a coincidence. When the midterm tests are administered, the whole Class D scores high in every subject. As the whole Class D scores highest in every subject, they thank Koshida for helping them. But Suzune knows the truth and asks Kiyotaka what he has done. Then there is the flashback 3 days before the examination date in which Suzune, for the sake of helping Sudo, gave him a notebook with a summary of the main points, while Kiyotaka exchanges past papers from his senior for 15,000 points, and later Koshida distributes it among the whole class. Back in the present, Chabashira suddenly tells them that Sudo has failed to pass the exams by 1 mark and leaves after telling he will be expelled from the school. Kiyotaka reaches out to her and demands to exchange for Sudo's 1 mark with his points. Chabashira becomes surprised, and when she demands 10,000 points, Suzune arrives at the point to contribute on her behalf. Later, everyone celebrates in Kiyotaka's room, and when they leave, he notices Koshida's mobile phone, which she accidentally left behind. As he goes to return her mobile phone, he eventually learns about her evil nature. Koshida pushes Kiyotaka to keep it a secret, else she will accuse him of attacking her. On 1st July, Chabashira tells Class D about their points due to an incident involving Sudo and 3 Class C basketball players. Class D's points are postponed. Sudo fought with Class C in self-defense, but given his bad reputation, he will be held accountable unless the class can locate a witness, and until then, the class will not receive any points. Suzune informs Kiyotaka and the others that their classmate Sakura was there and witnessed the incident with her camera. When Koshida approaches her and asks her about the situation, she runs away with her camera and falls on the floor. The following day, Sakura asks Koshida and Kiyotaka to accompany her to the repair shop, and when Kiyotaka helps her, she becomes ready to be the witness in Sudo's case. Later, the hearing takes place by the student council president, Suzune, inquires with the Class C students about the circumstances surrounding the battle, pointing out that it is almost impossible for such serious injuries as they fought 3 against 1. Then suddenly, Sakura appears as the witness and shows them the photo showing Sakura was present at the place. When Class C has difficulty proving Sudo guilty, they propose a compromise to suspend Sudo for 2 weeks and the 3 Class C students for 1 week. Realizing that one side is lying, Manabu will announce his decision the following day at 4 o'clock. The following day, Sakura returns to the dormitory and finds the photos in a mailbox. The final ruling is delayed due to the threatening photos. Taking advantage of it, Kiyotaka and Suzune set a trap for Class C students by installing a fake security camera. They propose a compromise for Class C students to withdraw their complaint as they gain nothing by going with the complaint, and the camera also captures their faces. As a result, the Class C students agree to withdraw the complaint. Afterwards, the electronics shop clerk assaults Sakura and tries to harass her, but Kiyotaka and Ichinos arrive now by using the tracking feature and arrest the clerk. Later, Manabu tries to get Kiyotaka to join the student council, but he rejects him and gives Suzune the glory for handling the situation. While studying in the dormitory room for summer vacation, Suzune is invited to the pool by Kiyotaka. Class D students got together last night to plan how they would spy on the females inside the locker room. Sotomura communicates with the lads via transceivers and hand signals while observing them from the general store along the journey. Yamachi, who has invited everyone, enters the women's changing room while posing as a janitor to covertly place the cameras while pretending to close them for cleaning. Ike enters there because of his difficulty. While Ike is still inside, Ryuin and the students from Class C approach the changing area. Suda, who needs assistance to escape, blocks Ryuin from entering the room to buy some time before Class students show there and start fighting. Manabu reminds everyone that as long as they are on school property, they are still subject to judgment. Sotomura alerts Kiyotaka to the issue, and Suzune makes a statement from the top of a diving platform about Class T one day becoming Class A. Ike slips out of the changing room unobserved, while the others are preoccupied. Chapashira tells Kiyotaka that someone contacted the school and asked to expel him. He becomes shocked while Chapashira warns him he will be expelled shortly, and then offers him that if he attempts to reach Class A, she will cover for him. He declines, thinking she might be trying to manipulate him, but she threatens to take away his freedom if he does. Later, all first-year students are taken on a luxurious cruise ship, where Kiyotaka discusses cruise's destination with Suzune. During the trip, Sakura tries to ask Kiyotaka to go on a date with her, but she suddenly changes her mind when Kiyotaka meets her. The following day, the school reveals the excursion's true purpose to all students. They must pass a survival exam on a remote island for a week. The classes are given 2 tents, flashlights, and 300 special test points to spend on food and other conveniences. Moreover, whatever is left over at the week's end can be converted into class points. When there are injuries, environmental damage, missed roll calls, or acts of aggression against other classes, the class loses test points. When the group divides up in search of a campsite, Kiyotaka is partnered with Sakura and Rokusha Konji. Remembering what Chapashira said about possessing a spot, that only the designated class leader can do it, and that each possession lasting for 8 hours earns the team 1 special test point that can only be exchanged for class points. Kiyotaka departs Konji while he and Sakura search for a spot to secure, and each class can get 50 test points by guessing a leader from another class. Later, while looking for a better spot with Sakura, Kiyokata sees Kohai holding the leader card. Later, Class D set their camps near the river and chose Suzune as their leader for being a responsible person. The class chooses how to allocate their 180 points, which must be used to purchase 2 meals daily, a bathroom, a tent, and an additional 30 points for unexpected events. The class experiences a loss when Konji withdraws despite not being as unwell as he claims to be, costing Class D 30 points. Suzune and Kiyotaka travel to explore the situation in other camps. They first visit Class B's camp, which is situated closer to a waterfall and functions similarly to the camp for Class D. After that, they visit Class's camp, but it is situated in a well-secured cave. And when Suzune tries to sneak a peek, Katsuragi sends for his security team and cautions her against doing. Afterwards, Class Camp C is located on a beach under Ryuin's leadership, but he has spent all points already. And the group treats the exam like a vacation, but later, they withdraw from the test. On the 5th test day, Ki Kuruzawa learns that her underwear was stolen last night. The boys refuse to admit that they had stolen it, but later, when Ike's Yamachi discovers it in Ike's bag. In a state of fear, Yamachi hands it over to Kiyotaka and runs away. Hirata discovers Kiyotaka during the pat-down search but claims he could not locate it. Later, after speaking with him, he chooses to take the underwear because Kuruzawa is his girlfriend, and he would suffer the least amount of consequences for being the guilty party. The girls of Class D decide to divide the boys and girls camps as a result of the event involving the item theft, which causes confidence within the class to decrease. When Mayo inquires about the thief's perspective, Kiyotaka tells her that Sudo accuses her while also saying that he believes her. Kiyotaka sees Suzune's sickness during the entire exam when they are sitting by a campfire that evening. Suzune shows Kiyotaka the leader card, so he can confirm if the card Katsureji was holding was real or not. Suzune throws Yamachi to the ground after he approaches her and smears mud on her hair. Later, someone took the leader card in secret while Suzune washed the mud out of her hair. Suzune catches up to Mio, but fails to reclaim her key card from Mio, who gives the card to the unidentified student. Later, as the test ends, it turns out that Ryuin stayed on the island and had been working with Class A. But when the result is announced, Class C stands last, a third B second, and Class D stands first with the most points, to which everyone becomes shocked. Later, Kiyokata reveals the leader card with his name to Suzune and tells her how he set his plans after she drops out. But Kiyotaka doesn't want anything to do with Suzune or anybody else in his class, since he just sees people as tools, and he will keep using people as long as he wins in the end.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the videos, and thank you for watching.